At 9:55 on a Thursday night, a controls technician finishes what everyone has called a routine change. At 10, the building shifts into its overnight mode. Several floors stop responding normally, the security desk starts seeing events it cannot reconcile, and a morning tenant setup is suddenly at risk. The equipment was not necessarily broken. The maintenance window was.
And that is how a 5-minute service interruption becomes a building-wide conversation. Each team may have done something reasonable. The problem is that nobody was watching the seams between those jobs.
How does a routine change become a building problem that quickly?
Because buildings do not wait for the work order to finish before they change modes. A system can look perfectly normal when the technician leaves, then behave differently when occupancy, ventilation, access, or another scheduled process changes. Reliability starts with disciplined maintenance, but disciplined maintenance includes knowing what happens next.
Welcome to Built, Wired, and Secured. I'm Alex Morgan. Today we're talking about the maintenance window nobody scheduled and the coordination that keeps facilities, IT, security, vendors, and tenant operations from working at cross purposes. Michael Harrington and James Rogers are here with us. Thanks for joining me.
Glad to be here.
Happy to join you. This is one of those subjects that sounds administrative until someone is standing in a lobby asking why 3 unrelated things changed at once.
So the issue is not whether each team did its job. It is whether anyone connected the jobs before they touched the same environment.
Exactly. From an operational standpoint, the first question is not only, is this change safe for my system? It is, what breaks if this goes down, even briefly, and who notices first?
James, when someone brings you a task that sounds routine, where do you start?
I start with the service people depend on, not the device being touched. If someone says we are updating a controller, I ask what that controller supports. Air handling, operator visibility, a scheduled occupancy change, a network path that another system quietly relies on.
So you translate the technical task into an operating consequence.
Right. Then I ask who observes that consequence. Facilities may notice comfort. IT may notice lost visibility. Security may notice that a normal event no longer reaches the expected operator. A tenant may simply notice that a room or door feels unreliable.
That is the blind spot. Tenants feel this immediately. They do not care which group owned the task. They care that the building is comfortable, accessible, and predictable during the hours they were told it would be. A supposedly harmless after-hours change can be high risk if there is an early occupancy, a tenant event, or a critical operation starting before the team returns.
Let's stay with that. Give us a typical sequence without getting into a particular client or system.
A property team approves after-hours work because the building appears quiet. Facilities has a separate adjustment planned. IT has network maintenance on the same evening. Nobody sees the full picture. Then the overnight schedule begins, a service behaves differently, and the first person to hear about it is often the front desk or tenant contact.
And the technician may have done exactly what was requested.
Without knowing the building was about to change modes.
Exactly. The system looked fine at the handoff, but the handoff was too early to prove anything. That is why I call a maintenance window a work window plus a confidence window. You need time to observe the building under the condition that matters.
That is a useful phrase. The work is finished, but the risk may still be unfolding.
Which is why one person needs to coordinate the whole window, not perform every task, coordinate the impact. That person should know what is changing, who is affected, how success will be confirmed, and who can stop the work if the result is not acceptable.
And put it somewhere visible. Not 3 calendars, 3 email threads, and a verbal promise that everyone will keep an eye on things.
One shared picture of the building's commitments.
Right. It does not need to be complicated. Show the affected service, the area, the timing, the responsible lead, the expected interruption, and the observation period. If another activity overlaps, resolve that before people are standing in the field trying to negotiate priorities.
But this is where organizations get nervous. If every task goes through a large review, people stop using the process.
Absolutely. Trust the process, but keep the process usable. If a low-impact activity takes 3 meetings and 15 fields, people will describe the work vaguely just to get it approved.
That is a bad incentive.
It is, but I am not sure I buy the idea that simplicity alone solves it. Some changes deserve a pause, even when the schedule is uncomfortable. If access, critical operations, or a large occupant population could be affected, the organization has to spend the extra time.
I agree with the pause. I am arguing against making the pause so hard to request that people hide the change. Simple does not mean casual. It means the path is clear, while the level of review follows the consequence.
Fair distinction.
What questions help a team decide how much review is enough?
Could occupants lose a service? Could operators lose visibility? Could this collide with another activity? Is recovery narrow or uncertain? Is the timing sensitive? If the answer is yes to any of those, widen the conversation. You do not need perfect certainty. You need enough awareness to make a responsible decision.
And define done before the work begins, not the technician left. Done might mean normal operator visibility, a confirmed access workflow, stable conditions through the next operating mode change, or a service check with the affected tenant contact.
Then what does the fallback conversation sound like?
It sounds specific. If the expected result is not present by the checkpoint, who pauses the work? Who contacts the affected teams? What temporary condition is acceptable? And when do we stop troubleshooting and return to the previous known condition? Preventative maintenance beats emergency repairs every time, and a fallback plan is part of prevention.
The decision authority matters as much as the technical option. A service provider may know how to perform the work, while the operations lead knows when continuing is unacceptable. If that boundary is unclear, people can spend too long trying to protect the schedule while the impact grows.
What breaks if this goes down? That is one of your recurring questions, Michael. Is the companion question, what breaks if we keep going?
Exactly. Sometimes the original condition is uncomfortable but manageable. The attempted fix can create a broader problem. If nobody can explain the next decision point, it is time to pause, communicate, and reassess.
And after recovery, do not rush past the review. I have seen a system look normal when the work ended, then change behavior during the next scheduled transition. A 10-minute conversation can capture what was expected, what actually happened, which dependency was missed, and who needed better notice.
That does not need to become a major incident report.
No, it just needs to happen while the details are fresh. Reliability starts with disciplined maintenance, and it grows through disciplined learning.
Include communication in that review. Did the tenant contact receive the notice? Did the front desk know what to expect? Did security and facilities have the same status? Here is the downstream impact. A technically successful change can still be an operational failure if people were left guessing.
Michael, property teams are balancing occupants, schedules, and service providers. James, facilities teams are balancing equipment history, alarms, and work orders. What does each side tend to incorrectly assume about the other?
Property teams may communicate urgency without context. They say, this must be complete before tomorrow, but do not explain which services are sensitive or who needs an update. The urgency travels downward. The operating detail does not always travel with it.
Facilities can make the opposite mistake. We know the equipment history so well that we forget other people cannot see what we see. We say, it is just a controls adjustment, while someone else hears, the building may change behavior and I have not been told. Technology should support operations, not complicate them, and plain language helps.
Let me make this usable. Before the next maintenance event, ask 3 questions. What service could change? Who will notice first? And what will we do if the result is not normal?
Then, give the window one accountable coordinator and one shared calendar. Put the expected impact, timing, affected teams, and notification plan where everyone can see them.
Add the confidence window. Decide who confirms success, how long the building needs to be observed, and what condition triggers a pause or fallback.
And after the work, record what changed, what the building did, and which team should have been included earlier.
That one question can reveal more than another isolated checklist.
The best day in operations is the one nobody notices. A little coordination before the work is usually what makes that possible.
That wraps up this episode of Built, Wired, and Secured. Today we explored how shared planning, clear ownership, confidence windows, and practical fallback decisions keep interconnected building systems dependable. Before your next maintenance event, open the calendar, find the team that is missing, and invite them before the work is approved. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us. Until next time, make sure the systems you're responsible for are built to last, wired with intention, and secured for the real world.